Yes, and welcome back. It's that time again. Woo! No, okay, look. So, we've gotten Conquest in, number 68, and we are continuing. $7.99 still the price, and it's still only for 12-year-olds plus, because, you know, under 3, you know, that you may end up swallowing the bits and pieces, or can't open the packet, because that happens too. We have terrain. We have another Hemotrope reactor. Yes, I know some people might have bought 1 or 2 or 3 beforehand and they got all excited, but yeah, we got another one, which is brilliant because you need at least 2 of these guys to really like work out well. Look, let's get this open and go from there. Yeah, I am a bit excited. Yeah, I am a bit happy. It's finally getting time to embrace my hobby again. It's kind of twofold when you're filming, because like you want to just get on with it, but at the same time I'm sharing with you guys, and you know, this is a thing we've done together, and I really do appreciate that, and thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm not going to be all beggy and teary about it, but thank you. You know, I've had fun on this journey. Don't worry that we're getting near the end. We've got other things we could do. I've got a lot in mind. I'm going to share this fun, but look, let's get this open. We know how this do. We know that once you've got that packaging seam down the front, we know you've got terrain on the back. And look, here it is. A lovely piece of terrain. Chunky, simple to build, a few minutes. You can hear enough snap and pop that off and get started. I love this stuff. Hit that twice with a couple of sprays and away you go. Even simple can. Yeah, you could, you know, rattle can, shake it up, spray it a couple of times, you're done with the terrain. Adding your details, you are laughing. Put it on the table, it's brilliant. Okay, let's have a look at our magazine. This is what we're here for. Because, you know, I like to make sure they've got good stuff in here. Normally they do have good lore if, you know, they're giving us something that we've seen before. So $7.99 is the price. Cover design, what are we looking at here? Everything's very subtle, muted. Alright, is what it is. Everything's blending in. If I was them, I would have just like photoshopped a little flare on there or something, you know. Push it through. Kind of like a Morlock zone. How they do this, it's good. Alright, let's have a look, see what we've got. Okay. So we have our contents. So we have the Annals of the Space Wolves. Ooh, Space Wolves. We haven't seen those in a little bit. Iron Hand Successors, the Harlequins Showcase. Interesting. A Lieutenant Cultus. What's going on here? Interesting. Okay. Hemotrope reactor. We've got a build, we've got a paint as usual, and we've got a mission. Hopefully they haven't left out anything. So we have the Sagas of the Space Wolves. Space Wolves are very much based on the Vikings. You know, like the Viking lore, the way that they work, the history. Very, not barbaric. That would be the wrong way of saying it. They have a very much Nordic outlook, from runes that they have to plaited beards and the stereotypical Viking kind of meads, beers, sagas and stories. Very much that. If that's your thing, that's good to play. Not werewolves. Not like if you're into, what's it called? Not True Blood, what was the other one? Twilight. Yeah, not like if you're into Twilight werewolves. It's not the same thing. Yeah, it's not the same thing. So we've got a little bit of history here. They call them sagas. So these guys have an interesting Primarch, Russ. The man's pretty much a legend. They think he's very much a ferocious beast, which is not that he's mindless, it's just that he's pretty much lawless. The man just gets on with it and does what needs to be done. He doesn't play around, doesn't mess around, and if he feels something's not right, he'll just deal with it there and then, which, you know, doesn't speak too well to those that like the lore so much, like Rabute Gilliman, or I'm forgetting his name now, I haven't seen it, Lionel Johnson, I think that's the guy, because I haven't seen him for a while. They're very much straight and narrow, where he's like, let's get it done. It kind of reminds me of like Khan, Jagata Khan, the Primarch for the White Scars. Quite good, lots of stories, lots of info, good there. We have Iron Hand Successors chapters continuing, and these guys look like blood angels, to be perfectly honest. But it is what it is. Iron Hands, nothing wrong with those guys. I got my Sons of the Phoenix, so, you know. Not that they're the same thing at all, but, you know, I can get down with it. Right, redacted information, classified. This just gives you an opportunity to make your own, sorry, excuse me, your own version of your successor chapter and place it in here. And they do that for every single kind of successor chapter following the main chapter. So, you know, feel free to make your own. If anyone says anything, just say it's redacted. Get your 2 traits from your Space Marine book or supplement, and you are laughing. You got Sons of Medusa there. My little one likes the Sons of Medusa. Yep, so I don't know much about them, but she likes the design. I don't know why. You know, this like, when was she? I think she was 3 when she liked them. She picked them. I don't know. Is what it is. So got a little bit of lore, history about them. Iron Hands operate more as clans versus like a whole chapter. So they're like small individual units brought together, and that's why they have their High Father, just to kind of like oversee everything. I kind of relate it to almost Native Americans, how they'll have their different tribes, but then they'll have like one kind of like overall leader. And then we have the Harlequins from the Eldari. These guys are seen as almost like clowns or tricksters, even amongst their own race. They're like interferers and troublemakers, but they're not chaotic because they have like an underlying plan that they need to work towards. And because of that, a lot of people see them as almost like fools and idiots, but they're really elite, very skillful. And it's kind of that thing where you can sneak in through buffoonery to get closer to the enemy, to strike them at their heart. You know, play the fool, act the assassin. Oh no, I just made that up. And it even says here, you know, that they follow the trickster god versus any other Eldari gods. So they are willing to make the moves. And it's almost like, what I'm trying to get to is that they work in a way that everything is scripted as part of a great play, and they have just, you know, actors in that play, and other people are actors, and sometimes they will sacrifice hundreds of themselves to save one, which makes no sense to other races because they're in direct conflict with them, like humans sometimes, or Monkai as they call them. And even though they're in direct conflict, it will benefit them in the end if that one person survives. So it's maybe the ultimate trick. I don't know. We'll see how Games Workshop writes it out. But all interactions that I've read with these guys, with, you know, humans, has always been interesting, because you expect them to do one thing and then they don't. They might kill off like 5 or 6 people out of like a 7-man unit and just leave like one person behind. And you're like, why would they leave them behind? And you find out that years later they become like the sergeant of a strike force, which is meant to do something which is very significant, you know, and they will come back and address that point again. It's really, really unusual. Black Library, that might sound familiar to you. The Black Library is basically where they have an Eldari craft world which is kept within the webway, and it's a very secret, sacred place which Araman is always trying to find, which is meant to be like a source of knowledge. But it's also the name of the place where they can, I won't say the place, but the actual kind of store that you can buy stories from the Warhammer 40k universe on like audiobook or actually books. So like, you know, Games Workshop has a place called the Black Library, and you can put all these stuff in bits and pieces. So it's quite a clever interplay there. Lots of good stories there. So a bit of showcase here. I like to see these models, and you know, this could be an army for this year. You know, it's quite an elite army, so I wouldn't have to get many models. But the detail required here is so much work. Like that checkering is just absolutely beautiful. I'm just, you know, you really have to dedicate your time and sit there and really paint these. This isn't a sponge and done. But that's a really good challenge, and something like this, you can always start off painting and then come back to add more detail. And I know I speak about that often, and I think I'll demonstrate that with the Blood Angel that I painted maybe about 2-3 years ago. And I'll just update detail just to show you that you don't have to strip the paint or get a new model to repaint, but you can just come back and add to it to give it more complexity, some more detail. It's kind of almost like filling out a sketch, I would say. So we have information here, wars based on everything, good. Nice the war pictures there, including Necrons. We have Silver Templars. Now we are going to be getting a supplement fairly soon, like an additional thing with the Conquest, which I've not opted out of, which means I'm going to be getting it. And again, it's based on Silver Templars. There's going to be paints and transfers that come along with that. What interests me is that they, in the beginning of this Conquest magazine, they really should have pointed you towards the Silver Templars, but they didn't. So that means that if you've got all of these transfers now, you're not really going to be using them because you might have painted them up as like Ultramarines, which really they were guiding you towards, which I think is a bit unfair. They could send you, you know, transfers for Ultramarines because they've got it in every single Space Marine box set, apart from the specific chapter box sets. They always send Ultramarine transfers, so they really could give you those for Conquest. Okay, so we're having a look at the weaponry here. Okay, having a strong bond with the machine spirits of their weapons and vehicles. It's known as the bond marshal, sorry. They craft their own weapons by the looks of it, and let's have a look. Anything special there? No, I didn't see anything special. I was kind of hoping to get something unique about it, but yeah. Kind of reminds me of the Salamanders, how they produce their own weapons and they're mastercrafted and they're a hell of a lot better. Okay, so, so the reactor there. Let's have a look. I think what I'm going to do with this one is I might actually have some form of damage on it. So I have it leaking. So I'll build that, have it leaking, paint it the same way as I did before, and then just add things to it to make it look like it's well damaged. Requires a tech priest to have a look at it. So we have our painting there. Silver, wash, a little bit of Abaddon black. Bring out your vents. You can use your blue now that you've gotten. Highlight with your gold. Get your details. Okay, anything there that I want to see? I'll paint those in red just so you can see them. Yeah, get your wires. That's always good. Get your lens. Your lens sells it. But get your vents. And they're doing it here. There you go. Thousand Suns blue. They're getting the vents. You can see there that they're painted almost even to the outer lip there. Don't stress if you get it everywhere. It's the energy bleeding out. That's fine. So it don't look too bad. I've actually taken the stack off of mine. It doesn't look all that great with it, but you could leave it on, take it off. It's up to you. Doesn't matter. There is no wrong here. So mission briefing. They're moving on to Plasma Overload. The story is moving forward. That's a beautiful piece of artwork there. You know, purple and green are great colors. Mission, again, we've got our triple mats. We've got our reactors on there now, and let's have a look. So we have our 40 power rating now. So we're getting to quite a large size game. I think when we hit about 75 power, because I tend to use points rather than use power, as it tends to be more balanced. And if you do really want to get hold of your points for any army, get hold of the Chapter Approved 2019, and they have the Minotaurium Handbook or Field Guide or whatever it's called, something along those lines, and it's got the points for every single unit and every single weapon from Forge World to other. That is worth it. Even though I don't use the main book itself, that is worth it. But it's got missions as well. So again, I can't really say who would win out of power points based on that, but you can get an interesting choice of armies there. So let's have a look. So our next issue, we have there the champions coming, and we have some paints, and that's all well and good. Yeah, okay, I can see this working. And this issue is predominantly white stars. Okay, now I have seen the rumor, which is based on the Primaris bikes, which might become up. Primaris bikes and Primaris land speeders. If that's true, this issue could coincide with the beginning of that. So let's see what happens. All right, I'll get that reactor built. We'll have a quick look, and then I'll just kind of go through light suggestions of how to add additional detail on the reactor itself, just so you can see where I had the damage or I had the spills and how I do that. Okay, so there's nothing magic about this. As you can see, I use a hot glue gun just to drop on some glue and come straight back in with the same yellow that I use on the reactor just to fill it in. But you have to do that on a level surface, because if you do it on an unlevel surface, it won't sit flat on the board. So I've made sure that I can do so I can sit it flat on the board. There you go. What's really nice is it sits in with the terrain. You can add a little few bits of details on there and it'll hold really well. Let's show you, I just used a glue gun. And it works out really nice with my characters, as you can see there. And yeah, how I painted that is a totally different story. Just highlighting using mainly yellows, but that's for another time. Alright, let's get back to it. Tell me what you think. Other than that, again, that was a good magazine. I've had fun with it. I always like a good piece of terrain, you know I do. It's always add something slightly different to the board. Even if you do get the same piece, you can change it slightly, just to make it unique. You know, make the board feel alive, and that's key. And in future, I will be doing more terrain projects. It's just legitimately time has been an issue for me. Not the time of trying to do these things or taking time to edit them, because I don't get that much time. It's just overall time in life. So I really do enjoy the hobby. I really do want to get on with the filming. I really want to give you guys as much as I can. But at the same time, I have responsibilities that I always will have to take care of, and that's okay. That's not a problem. So in future, things may balance out a bit more evenly, and when they do, or when I get more time, I'll spend that time with you guys as well, because I have fun doing it. Well, look, let's continue to do what we do, have fun, and continue enjoying the new year. This has been Spect. I've enjoyed my time. I hope you've enjoyed yours, and I'll catch you again soon. PC